The state in Iran is actively supported by only a minority of the Iranian people, but the majority see no means of changing it because of the monopoly of power which the regime possesses. There's no doubt that this tension, which has existed for many years, is going to continue so long as the Iranian supreme leader, who is in his 80s, survives and retains his control over the security and political organs of the state. There is unlikely to be any change.
Apparently got a target, or the location of a target of a terrorist group, wrong.
We don't know whether they got it wrong. There are claims and counterclaims. This, of course, is a long-running issue of attacks in Iran that start from Pakistani territory, and maybe there are some activities in the other direction, as Pakistani Foreign Ministry has alleges. I have no information about that. I think that Iran's attitude will be much the same as Pakistan's, in that there's no reason to take this crisis further. It's possible that it could escalate and there would be further tit-for-tat attacks, but it doesn't look like the most likely scenario.
Can you explain the relationship hitherto between Pakistan and Iran?
Usually it's one of neighbourly cooperation, for example, on energy projects, ways of exporting Iranian gas through to India, through Pakistan, have been on the table for a long time. Pakistan, though, has been under very strong influence from the United States not to go through with that project because of the United States' long-standing quarrel with Iran. So it's a relationship that has had both high points and low points. Clearly, it's at a low at the moment, but that's an unstable border for both countries and has been for many, many years. It's been the official policy of the British government, for example, that there should be no British citizens traveling in that area because of the risks. And I don't suppose that this crisis is going to pacify that area. And there's going to have to be those diplomatic contacts which the Pakistanis are talking about.
Do you have any information about who the terrorist group is that Iran were supposedly trying to target initially?
Jaish al-Adl, yes, the Army of Justice, as it's called in English. They are a group of Sunni Muslims of Baluch tribal origin who have relationships with Sunni Muslims of Baluch tribal origin inside Iran. And there have been attacks over the years that have cost Iranian lives. It's an unsettled province. It's one which has a predominantly Sunni religious character, and the religious leaders in Iranian Sistan and Baluchistan, that's in Iran, have tended to support the reform current within Iran, which of course has run into such trouble with reaction from the Islamic regime in recent years. So there's many strands, but it's not in the interest either of Pakistan or Iran to make this worse.
Iran is mentioned very regularly in all sorts of geopolitical conflicts and issues. We talk about Hezbollah, we talk about what's happening in, obviously, with the Houthis in the Red Sea right now and the shipping problems there. But domestically, I wonder what your information is, Sir Richard. There have been lots of protests in Iran recently and other acts of violence. What is the relationship between the state and its people currently, as you see it?
The state in Iran is actively supported by only a minority of the Iranian people, but the majority see no means of changing it because of the monopoly of power which the regime possesses. There's no doubt that this tension, which has existed for many years, is going to continue so long as the Iranian supreme leader, who is in his 80s, survives and retains his control over the security and political organs of the state. There is unlikely to be any change. But there is a lot of heat in the ashes lying beneath the veneer of the regime's systems of control, particularly amongst young people, but not just amongst young people. The Iranians are highly educated. They have excellent contacts with the rest of the world. They have a centuries-old tradition of aspiration towards democratic government. And the day will come when a different system of rule prevails in Iran, but we don't know when that will be.
That's very interesting, Sir Richard. Thank you. That's Sir Richard Dalton, former UK ambassador to Iran.